Hey guys, I'm presenting my case study today on non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So a little bit of background about this disease. It's a condition where excess fat is stored in the liver more than is supposed to be stored there. It causes little to no damage to the liver cells until it does progress into something worse without treatment. This is called non-alcoholic steatohepatitis or NASH. And NASH does lead to the loss of the functional tissue cells of the liver and eventually to cirrhosis, which is scarring of the liver. There are some similarities found in patients that are diagnosed with fatty liver disease, and this includes obesity, if they have insulin resistance, or if they have elevated cholesterol and triglyceride levels. So for the treatment, we pretty much just start with weight loss, and that's done through calorie reduction, exercise, and healthy eating. A good first step is educating the patient on what saturated fat is and what foods it's found in, because limiting saturated fat and carbohydrate consumption is pretty important to stop the progression of this disease. And also addition of healthier foods like fruits, vegetables, healthier fats like some fatty fish, avocados, walnuts, anything like that. So the patient's name is Mr. Mung Kim. He's a 38-year-old male. He is currently asymptomatic with no previous medical or surgical history. He does use tobacco and he occasionally uses alcohol. His father has hypertension and coronary artery disease, and his mother has diabetes. For his anthropometric data, his blood pressure is slightly elevated at 142/86. He is 5'8". He weighs 205 pounds, and his BMI is 31.1, which is class 1 obesity. For his nutrition-focused physical assessment, it was found that he does have a firm liver, and the left lobe of his liver and spleen tip is prominent. For his ultrasound, pretty much what this means is that they found a loss of functional cells within the liver, and they didn't find any evidence of any tumors or masses or stones in his liver. The gallbladder and pancreas seemed to be okay, but the spleen was found to be enlarged. He was diagnosed with hepatosplenomegaly, which is the enlargement of the liver and the spleen, hepatic steatosis, which is NASH, and ultimately leads to cirrhosis. And they found evidence of hyperlipidemia and hyperglycemia. Hyperlipidemia is when they find excess fat in your blood, and hyperglycemia is high blood sugar. For his lab results, it was found that he has an elevated glucose. This is because he has a large intake of processed foods and carbohydrates, and his body probably isn't utilizing the glucose correctly. He has an elevated ALT and AST, and these are liver enzymes, and they show that the liver is a little damaged. He has an elevated cholesterol. His is at 285, and anything above 200 is increased risk for disease development. He has a low HDL and an elevated LDL and VLDL, and this is because of his diet and that it's very high in saturated fat and low in unsaturated fat and poly and monounsaturated fat. He has elevated triglycerides, which increases his risk for heart disease, and elevated hemoglobin A1C, and that pretty much just means that he's diabetic, pre-diabetic. For his food and nutrition history, in the morning he has coffee with sugar and milk. Before lunch at work, he has a pastry or donut out of the vending machine. For lunch, he has a sub sandwich or burger with chips or fries, a slice of pie or cookies, and soda, and that's all from the work cafeteria. For dinner, which his wife makes dinner every night and she does the grocery shopping, he eats meat, 1 or 2 cups of short grain rice, vegetables, kimchi, and usually some type of fruit. For his bedtime snack, he has chips, cookies, and popcorn. Whenever he works, he either works the day or afternoon shifts, and if he works in the afternoon, that means that he eats his big meal before going in at 3 o'clock, and he reports a good appetite and no known food allergies. For his intervention, goal one is to reduce his saturated fat intake. This can be done by substituting out the morning pastry or donut that he has and replacing it with something quick and easy from home. That could be just grabbing a piece of fresh fruit, putting together some trail mix or buying some trail mix, or low fat yogurt. Really, anything low fat and nutrient dense is perfect for his snack. He can also reduce saturated fat intake by packing his own lunch instead of eating cafeteria foods at least 2 times a week. And by substituting the fries or chips at lunch also with vegetables from the work cafeteria, that's a great way to reduce the fat intake. Goal two is to increase mono and polyunsaturated fat and omega-3 intake. And he can do that by maybe one night a week eating fish instead of meat, adding fatty fish like salmon, tilapia, trout, something like that. And he can also eat trail mix, put walnuts in it. That's a really good source of unsaturated fat. Goal three is increasing activity by 60 minutes each week. Um, Ideally, he would be able to get up to 150 minutes a week in the future, but that needs to be accepted by him. So for the monitoring and evaluation, the first thing we want to monitor is his adherence to the new diet. The introduction of healthier foods like the fish, the nuts, whole grain products should be evaluated after 2 months to see how he is adhering to the new guidelines. Also, physical activity should be monitored to see if he's getting the 60 minutes and how it's working for him, and see if he's ready to increase his physical activity time after 2 months of adherence. Also, his weight loss should be monitored and his lab value should be reevaluated. Okay, thank you guys.